Well, I have the privilege of interviewing Dr. Adam Hand, professor at the Pavement Engineering and Science program at the University of Nevada, Reno. Thank you, Adam, for taking the time to join us as we prepare for the celebration for the AAPT Centennial meeting. Thanks for taking the time of sitting with us. So I'm going to take us back to the maybe late 90s when you finished your master's and you served as a research faculty at the University of Nevada, Reno between, I believe, 1994 and 1998. And I assume that's when you joined AAPT as a member. So if you can share with us what initially sparked you of becoming, of joining AAPT and becoming a member of AAPT.
Well, Johnny, it's an honor to be able to do this today. I thank you, and I'm glad to be here. And AAPT has had a huge impact on my life, and again, I'm glad to be able to be interviewed today. And what really got me started in AAPT was the technical content of the proceedings from the meetings. As a student, right, we get forced to go do a literature review, go do this, go do that, and it became really apparent when you go to read a paper that was in the AAPT proceedings. It could be any length, right? It was very, very good technically, and the discussions were awesome, and it really drew me in technically, and then of course people drew me to AAPT. The mentors in my life led me to AAPT as well.
This is great to hear, because a lot of people join AAPT, but few take on that mission of being more and more involved into AAPT, and then they kind of have a journey with AAPT. Your journey with AAPT was kind of interesting because you served as the president. You served for many years on the board of directors, but then you served in 2020 as the president for AAPT. Despite that was already a tricky year, because that's when we were hit by COVID. What does Adam Hand say about his journey into becoming AAPT president for AAPT?
Wow. Well, it was quite a journey. It was a wonderful journey to start with. And I look back, and the first AAPT meeting I came to, Gene Scope put his arm around me and was just, he really welcomed me into the association, and he tried to make me feel comfortable, and he spent hours and hours introducing me to people. It was an incredible experience. It was a place I wanted to be. Yeah, and I don't know, here we are 25 years later, something like that. And it's been a great pleasure to serve the association. Early on it was participating in meetings, and then being invited to sit on committees and give presentations and symposium sessions and that type of thing. And I recognize the benefits of service. There are benefits for the association, there are benefits for individuals, and you get to become involved in a community that's an incredible community, and that's what really that was sort of the propagation. Eventually, I was nominated to the board. I served, did not move forward. The first time I served on the board, I was nominated again. And I don't know what happened to the crazy members of AAPT, but I made it through round two on the board, and ultimately served in the different roles on the board. And that was actually really a good experience, being on the board once and then walking away and then coming back again. You learned a lot, or I learned a lot in that process, and it really gave me a lot of insight into the organization, and again, I learned a lot about not only the organization but myself and the importance of service through that process. You brought up COVID. It was a very unique time. As you know, we're here in San Diego today because of the fact we were supposed to be here during COVID, and we're back sort of catching up. And yeah, it was a very challenging time. We, as an organization, we were in a very precarious position. Because the hotel, when we didn't meet the room, the negotiated room block, wanted the association to cut a check to the hotel, and if we had done that, the association would have been broke, basically. And so again, it was a precarious time. We were very fortunate to work through all that, and it helped us bring something to light that previous leaders of AAPT had been talking about for quite some time, and that was about having some reserve so that if something happened, you know, we would still exist as an organization. And we started down the path of trying to build those reserves as an outcome of that, which was really good for the association. And you know, Mike Anderson harasses me about being the longest serving president of AAPT. Again, I was really happy to do it at the time. It was a very interesting. Things changed. We went from having, first time I served on the board, you went to a couple meetings a year, you know, there wasn't a lot going on, and all of a sudden we were having bi-weekly meetings, and it was really exciting, and again, it was very rewarding.
This is great to hear. I want to take us back a little bit in time to 1998 when you left to serve as an assistant professor. You took over an assistant professor position at Purdue University. And then in 2000, you switched gears from being in academia to joining Granite Construction, where you served for over 16 years in several roles, starting from like starting roles all the way up to vice president of quality for many years. And you were more involved with the industry sector. And that's a little bit interesting because AAPT, especially during the past, was more known to be more involved with people with academic background, not necessarily industry. The good thing we're seeing more involvement with the industry coming up to 2023. And that triggers in me asking you the question of what has kept Adam Hand coming to AAPT, even though after you switch to being more involved with busy industry and not necessarily academia?
Well, mostly the people. Right. First and foremost, the people. It's a wonderful association, and a lot of the relationships that I have in the industry today, you know, started at AAPT. Still have wonderful relationships with many members, but the technical content obviously kept me coming back. Also, I was in some interesting roles in industry, and I needed to stay on top of things technically. And obviously, AAPT is the place, you know, to be if you want to be on top of what's going on technically in the asphalt industry. So, again, the technical content, but also the people, really the people.
That's great to hear. I want to take us a little bit back as well to Adam Hand's first presentation. Do you recall when was it? How was it? Maybe the main topic?
I recall it well. It would have been probably 1998 or 1999. The topic was the influence of test method variability on volumetrics. This was coming out of Sharp and SuperPave as volumetric mix design method, and folks were struggling with getting mix designs verified. Public agencies at that point in time, you know, the transition to quality assurance specifications was taking place, and agencies were beginning to allow producers or engineering firms to do designs rather than the DOTs doing designs, and the DOTs were doing verification. And there were a lot of challenges with not getting mixes to verify in that process. So that presentation I made, I think that may have been actually in Reno. I think it may have actually been in Reno. And I'll never forget a young, hungry John Angelo got down my throat, and it was quite the experience. It was actually a good day in the end. But yeah, it was exciting and interesting all at once. And great experience.
Which brings me to the following comment. What differentiates AAPT from technical session from other technical sessions is the great discussions that you get at the end of the papers. I wanted to ask about, it's very well known that you have that lineup of people asking questions on the mic, and especially for the first time or given a presentation, maybe in public, and especially at AAPT, this becomes challenging. How did Adam Hand overcome that?
I think there's no other way to overcome it than to experience it, live it, and I had good support going in from my mentors at the time, and good support coming out. Presenting at TRB and presenting at AAPT are two different animals, right? AAPT, as you said, you have this great discussion, and there's time for it, right? There's time for it, and so yeah. No, I guess the only way to prepare for it is to live it, right? So,
100%. So, if I did my math correctly, you have around 25, maybe a little bit over 25 years of serving this amazing organization. Briefly, what are the reasons behind Adam Hand's dedication to such organization? Because usually people tend to giving up very shortly, or they serve for a couple, 3 more years, and then they get busy into doing other stuff, maybe taking care of their current job, maybe family duties, and so on. So it's sometimes very hard to balance being part of an organization. Now comes on the additional responsibility of serving the organization. Can you elaborate a little bit what made Adam Hand dedicated? So.
Yeah, no, I've been dedicated to the association because of all that the association has given back to me, and every lick of energy I put into supporting AAPT has been, again, provided payoffs, and particularly in friendships, right? The community, the friends and mentors that I've had because of my engagement in AAPT it's been absolutely incredible. I think it's important for everybody to serve. My service started out as being asked to serve on some committees. Again, being asked to, in the old days, symposiums, right? You'd be invited to make a presentation, that type of thing, and I just became more and more engaged. And again, service is real. I think service is really important. And I think it's good for the individuals that serve, and I think it's good for the associations or entities that you serve, whether it's AAPT or anything. Service is really important, and so I've been dedicated to service. I've been accused of spending too much time on service by more than one employer, but again, I've done it because again, the value in AAPT, and it's a great organization to be a part of. And, you have these long-term relationships, and then you also have people like you, right? We have an opportunity to mentor young folks when we stay engaged, and I think it's important. Past President's Luncheon is today, so the cranky old guys will all get together and talk about the past, but I think the future is really bright, and so.
This is amazing to hear what AAPT has given back to individuals like you and many others. Speaking a little bit about memories, I want to know what is one of Adam Hand's memorable event at AAPT. If you can recall something that you'll never forget, or something that means a lot to you, what would it be?
Well, I think I mentioned Gene Skoke and how he, the first meeting that I came to, was such a gentleman, and he made me feel really comfortable. That would be my first memory that was very memorable, and it grew from there. There was this pool of mature gentlemen at AAPT that I was able to get to know. And finally, over time, that group became broader, and there were some ladies that were involved and so forth. It's been great to see all that also. But so the first meeting, again, Gene's reception was incredible. The first time that I saw bantering at the mics, I'll never forget Carl Monosmith and John McRae at mics bantering with each other, and I don't remember even who the presenter was, but they were going at it. And again, they could banter at the mics and then turn around and walk away and have a conversation. And when I first saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, what is this dangerous or what? But it became apparent that people were really passionate about what they did and how they felt, and they weren't afraid to show that. And it was very apparent, and again, the kinship, when the session was over, was always great. So those are a couple of really key memories. And then of course, there's memories of when people become honorary members, and they get up and they're very passionate about their experiences, and they're very humble, and witnessing those has been, some of them are have been more impactful. For example, John Epps, when he accepted his award, was a very memorable evening for me.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
Speaking of memories, as we're celebrating 100-year anniversary for this great organization, so this organization is building on the legacy of the past, to have a great present and then hopefully prepare for a very bright future. What are Adam Hand's intakes and insights on AAPT growth between the past, the present, and the future?
Oh, I think what's really great about AAPT is that it's still an environment where people come together, and there's a great community, community of friends. I'm really glad to see that it's changed. It's the diversity in the organization is fantastic. The diversity in the membership, the diversity in the board. I have 3 daughters. I'm really thrilled to see ladies very, very active in the association. I recall having conversation with Rita Leahy when she was the first female president, and again, I'm really glad to see the change there, and particularly just the diversity in general. I think it's good too that the setting at AAP is such that it's possible for people to get to know each other still. I think that's really important. But the organization has changed. It's changed. It's changed. I think it changed more slowly in the past. I think recently it's changed more rapidly, which is great. And I think it's adopting to the change in the world, and it's fantastic. And I think it's going to be another great run of many, many years. And I look forward to being a part of it for at least for the next few.
So speaking of that, and I hate to turn the conversation a little bit towards me, but I'm a proud graduate of the Paving Engineering and Science program at UNR, and I recall when I first started my PhD, that's when you joined, and you may not have been my direct advisor, but you were one of the main contributor in my professional development. That's number one. You helped me develop leadership skills, professional behavior in society, and so on. And I'm blessed to have had that experience, because this is rare to have when you go to school. So within that frame, what is Adam Hand's, or what are Adam Hand's thoughts and messages to young professionals who just joined AAPT, or who currently serve AAPT, some prospective members thinking of joining AAPT? Few words to them. What would they be?
Yeah. I mean, I think what's really important about AAPT today is it's not just about an academic community. The association, the membership is broader than it used to be, very sort of academic oriented, and I think there's really good opportunity for state DOT folks to become involved. We used to have a larger, engagement from the DOTs. And again, you don't have to be an academic. You can be in industry and be engaged and be a very productive, right, as well as productive member that also contributes a lot. And again, we see that even in the board makeup today, right? So,
this is amazing.
My words, I guess my parting comments would be, get engaged. It'll be a good experience for you.
When a research project is completed, a set of recommendation comes out of that research and recommendation, and the practicality may be sometimes an issue or a key factor, of the finding of that research study. But if you go back in the past, Adam Hand was one of the fewest to make sure that everything that goes out of that research is practical, or has that possibility of being implemented. Why is that? Why Adam Hand is wired towards putting everything on paper, making it practical and in the field?
Well, it's probably my experiences in life, right? And I think that there's fundamental research that's absolutely essential to move things along as an industry, or move technology along. But but the practice of it is also important, and if we don't bridge the gap between fundamentals and practical implementation, then we're not going to get end products that are useful. And so you know, I grew up, my father was a contractor. I grew up in the construction business, and then, you know, I worked many years in industry, and that helped me recognize what could and couldn't be sort of implemented. And I think I probably had a focus on things being implementable, or recognition, because of the exposure that I got in the construction industry. You know, I've been harassed about not doing some fundamental stuff in the past, but I've harassed others about, you know, putting things out there that we can implement, and again, we can do, you know, there's some wonderful research that's done fundamentally, but if we can't implement it, you know, it's not helping us today. It might help us 20 years, 30 years. I think back to, you know, so I mentioned John Epps a minute ago. Carl Monosmith was doing mechanistic empirical pavement design in the 60s, right? John was doing fatigue testing in the 60s, right? So they were doing basically tractable testing and fatigue testing, and it's 2023, right? And there are a handful of states that are sort of using the MEPDG today, right? And so you know, we wouldn't be where we are today if they weren't doing that then, right? But in the interim, we had to have some tools, right? And so my focus has probably been on those things that we can use today, because I feel that it's my role to do that, because there are plenty of folks that are gonna pursue fundamental research that again will help us long term. But if we can get it implemented today, I think it's pretty valuable, and I think we're struggling with that with the BMD right now, right? Our future is the BMD, and I will certainly do my part to help us in any way I can get the BMD implemented in the remainder of my career. That's probably a good example of you know, the kind of thing that I care about. And again, I think if we can't use what we do, then we need to focus on something different. So.
What is Adam Hand's special memory at AAPT?
I have lots of special memories, but one in particular is when Audrey Copeland came into the president's role. The transition, I was talking, this is back in the head table days and all that stuff, you know, and so there we're going through this transition, and I talked about the ladies of AAPT, and I left Becky McDaniels out, and she was a student of mine at Purdue, and she gave it to me after that. It was great. I had it coming. She said, "Adam," she looked up at me like, "Adam," and I was like, "Oh my God, what did I just do?" You know, I left Becky out. How could I do that? So that's probably the most embarrassing moment of my tenure in service at AAPT, but it was clearly a memorable event that I will never forget.
Becky McDaniel had a great contribution and service to the association, and may her soul rest in peace.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time. That's number one, but thank you for your insights and sharing your memories with us. It's been quite the journey for you in AAPT, and it's only the beginning. We appreciate your time, and we look forward to celebrating the AAPT Centennial and meeting in Chicago, and happy 100-year anniversary.
Well, thank you, and again, I appreciate having the opportunity to be interviewed. It's been a great experience for me to be a member and active in AAPT. I think that the association is on a really good path. You young folks are doing great things, and the change is positive, and you know, I look forward to sailing into retirement at some point, and we'll be glad to know that AAPT is in good shape, and so again, thank you.
Thank you for your trust.